Arriving at Predil, a decaying former mining town on the border between Slovenia and Italy, one is immediately struck by a raw realization of humanity's role as a plot device rather than main character of this planetary narrative. A visceral and unmediated awareness that no theoretical elaboration can give. Empty houses, collapsed processing plants, and surely the most telling of all, the mine itself. One of Earth's self-harm scars that never properly healed after its metallic veins have been thoroughly drained. Of course, this by now rusted edge cuts both ways. Generations of miners living their lives deep underground in order to assist heavy metals concentrate on the surface, swirl around the globe and end up, at best, alloyed and integrated into electronic circuits, or at worst, propelled to high speeds as agents of kinetic trauma. In his programmatic text The Terraforming, Benjamin Bratton positions the by now iconic black hole image as a new kind of world picture, one with humanity finally, truly and properly decentered. Quote, "True, the planet folded itself to make humans, who in turn fold the planet to turn it into an astronomic chimera, and so much of the antecedent frameworks of cognition that the image implies are based on our way of looking. But that process reflected back in the image positions Homo sapiens as a kind of auto-generated smart bacteria swarming around on the surface of that amoeba, a transitive enabling layer. Further, the black hole image is a terrifying image. It shows the void of gravity that is time. It shows what is seen when primates assemble a planetary optical organ, and it shows a planet sensing its external situation by using parts of a larger sensing system that it also uses to model itself. The reason the image is terrifying, however, is because it promises to reveal something further that we can't know yet. If we define the Copernican turn as the process by which an intuitive and anthropocentric conceptual model creates the technology, which in turn undermines that model, then part of what makes the black hole image terrifying is knowing that the undermining is yet to come." End quote. It seems that we have once again pushed this world, or at least our conception of it, to its limit. As a catastrophic cascade of eco-immuno-socio-geopolitical collapses looms large and capital coldly leaves us far behind, in a dust cloud of heavy metals and big data, it is time to admit our impotence and accept our, at best, supporting part in this subsurface scenario. To let the concepts of nature, technoscience, economy, everything we arrogantly consider separate and subjugate by fault of our own involvement, descend into a cold subterranean crypt built and abandoned by us, and conspire together without us, if not against us, undermine the limits keeping us from finding a way out. It operates as an autonomous off-site server cluster and lights-off laboratory, thinking, communicating, experimenting, investing, at first for us, but then increasingly as the network cobwebs become thoroughly interwoven for itself. Intelligence becoming general, singularity imminent. A database as catabases, a tectonic, or rather tectonic shift that only Novalis and Hoffman could have felt coming in their darkly enlightened caverns. The project was from start to finish formulated and framed as an exercise in a different kind of reuse, not only on the level of infrastructural content, but also the level of superpositional expression. Cliched citations, shamelessly stolen phrases, barely altered plans, stock 3D models, and not much more. It bootstraps itself into existence as a chimera of traditional architectural media. Scale model, technical drawing, render graphic, all flowing together into a feverish, prophetic deep dream. And aren't dreams always composed of anonymized materials, stashed, cooled down and tempered in the darkness of latent spaces, away from daylight? Every dream of the future is necessarily informed by a recollection of the past, to the point where the two become undistinguishable and interchangeable. As the cave-dwelling eremite remarks to Heinrich von Ofterdingen in Novalis' eponymous fragment novel, quote, "You miners are well-nigh inverted astrologers," said the hermit. "As they ceaselessly regard the sky, wandering through its immeasurable spaces, so do you turn your gaze to the earth, exploring its construction. Astrologers study the forces and influences of the stars, while you are discovering the forces of rocks and mountains, and the manifold properties of earth and stone strata. To them, the higher world is a book of futurity. To you, the earth is a memorial of the primeval world." End quote. But of course, nothing is as simple as this one-to-one mapping would make it seem, as Heinrich discovers later, browsing through the hermit's accumulated library. Quote, "At last a book fell into his hands written in a foreign tongue, which appeared to him somewhat like Latin or Italian. He longed greatly to know the language, for the book pleased him greatly, though he did not understand a syllable of it. It had no title, but after a little search he found some engravings. They seemed strangely familiar to him. and on examination he discovered his own form quite discernible among the figures. He was terrified and thought that he must be dreaming, but after having examined them again and again, he could no longer doubt their perfect resemblance. He could hardly trust his senses when in one of the pictures he discovered the cave, the hermit, and the old man by his side. End quote. If Breton's Earth's camera is the planet gazing at its outside, this is merely anything more than an extension of planetary computation. Earth's solid-state drive, Earth's processor, the planet ruminating on its own deep history to dream up its far future.